Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Skill 7 of the TOEFL preparation course. In this class, we're going to be checking out use adverb, time, and cause connectors correctly, which is Skill 7 for the structure part. Now, last class, which was on Skill 6, we saw this idea of connectors, right? And the connectors, we already know, are words that connect two subjects and two verbs, right? Or a pair of clauses. In this case, we're going to be looking specifically at time and cause connectors, right? Now, we know that typically the connector goes in the middle, right? In this case, for example, I will sign the check before you leave. And before is going to be my connector here. My first clause is I will sign, right? This is clause number one, one action, one idea. And you leave is my clause number two, right? And we saw in skill 6 that typically there's a comma right here, right? But in this case, that's not necessary. We're not going to put the comma. The new idea here in skill number 7 is going to be that the connector can actually be in the beginning, right? For example, this type of idea, I can say it like this: before you leave, comma, I will sign the check. And in this case, it is important to position the comma between the two clauses, right? So I have two options. I can either say, I will sign the check before you leave, or before you leave, I will sign the check, right? And both of these are correct. It just depends on how you want to phrase the sentence or how you want to say it, right? And in this case, before is a time connector, right? We were looking at coordinating conjunctions or coordinating connectors, right? Like and, or, but, yet, so. And here in skill 7, we cannot do that, right? With coordinating connectors like and. I can't say and you leave, I will, no, it has to be in the middle. But these type of connectors, which we're going to see some of them in a moment, you can put them in the beginning, right? And separate the clauses with a comma. So let's look at an example which could appear in the TOEFL. Here, for example, was late, I missed the appointment. So immediately we should notice that here there's a clause, right? I missed the appointment. There is a comma also right here, and there is a verb. So what are we missing? We're missing two things. We're missing a connector and we're missing a subject, right? So without even like looking at the coherence, just simply which of these options has a connector and a subject? D, right? Since in this case is a connector and he is a subject, and then it would say, since he was late, I missed the appointment. And yeah, that's correct. I've using A, I, or C, the train is incorrect because we need a connector, and B, because it's only a connector but not a subject, right? So yeah, in this case, D would be my correct option. And here we have answer D is the best option or the best answer, because there is a subject for the verb was and there is a connector, since, to join two clauses. So I think the complicated thing here could be figuring out the vocabulary for the conjunctions or the connectors, because some people may say, what? Since is a connector? But it is, right? Let's check out some of these connectors because some of them are a little bit weird. Okay, and I'm going to help you out with them. We have the typical after and before. So I think everybody knows after, post, right? Like after lunch, post lunch, or for example, like before, right? Remember the A and B are backwards, like in Spanish, antes y después. So antes is before, B, and después is A, right? After. So A and B in the alphabet is A, B, and in this case is B, A, right? Before, past, after, or post. As is a little bit like while. It's mientras, right? As you do this, while you do this. As long as is siempre y cuando. As soon as, tan pronto como. by the time, para cuando hagas esto, by the time you do this, I will do this other thing, or I will have done this. Once, una vez que, since, right? In this case, since you did this, debido a que hiciste esto, or this one is similar to the cause also, which is over here. Since, until, hasta que, until I see the results, I will not pay, or something like that. When and whenever, very similar. They're practically the same. Cuando, right? Whenever you can, cuando puedas. You can do this whenever you can. And cause, right? As this happened, because this, in as much as is a little bit complicated, it means en la medida. En la medida en que, as in as much as, but it's not that common. And now that, ahora que, right? So we have here an example. Teresa went inside because it was raining, right? Or I can also say, because it was raining, comma, very important to put the comma, Teresa went inside, right? But you see the subject verb, adverb connector, subject verb, or adverb connector, subject verb, comma, subject verb, right? So if you want to pause the video, study this, and up next, we're going with the exercises. Okay, so exercise 7, like all of the TOEFL exercises we have been doing, tell us each of the following sentences contains more than one clause. So there is more than one clause. We have to detect the subjects and underline them once, and the verbs and underline them 2 times. We have to circle the connectors, right? Very important to do this step by step, and then indicate if the sentence is correct or incorrect, right? So let's look at number 1. Since the bank closes in less than an hour, the deposits need to be tallied immediately. So we have here closes, yes, which is my verb. Who or what closes? The bank. We have a comma here, correct? The deposits need to be tallied. Need is the second verb. Who or what needs? The deposits, right? And since is my connector, the structure and the order is correct. So yes, it's correct. Now let's look at number 2. Their backgrounds are thoroughly investigated before are admitted to the organization. Okay, we already know something sounds wrong in that one. So are thoroughly investigated, or are, is the verb structure. Who or what are or are thoroughly investigated? Their backgrounds, right? This is a passive voice, right? Are thoroughly investigated by the people. Are admitted. Who or what are admitted? Oh, and here's the mistake, right? We don't have a subject. We have a connector before, but we don't know what is admitted, right? The people, the clients. Yeah, we have a missing subject, so it's incorrect. Okay, very good. Now we're going with exercise 3 to 10. So you're going to do the same thing. I recommend you pause the video so you can do exercise 3 to 10. And in a moment, we will check them, okay? All right, very good. Okay, let's check them. Let's see. Number 3 says the citizens are becoming more and more incensed about traffic accidents whenever the accidents occur at that intersection. So are becoming is my first verb structure. Who or what are becoming? The citizens. Let's look for the other verb, occur or happen, right? Who or what occur at that intersection? The accidents. And do we have a connector between? Yes, whenever. So according to this one would be correct, right? Number 3. Yes, no problem with number 3. Okay, let's look at number 4. The ground had been prepared. The seedlings were carefully planted. Okay, so we have here my first verb structure, had been prepared. Who or what had been prepared? The ground. And were carefully planted is my other verb structure. Who or what were carefully planted? The seedlings. But we have a problem. We don't have a connector, right? Maybe the connector could be in the beginning because there's a comma here. But yeah, it's incorrect because missing connector, right? Let's look at, yeah, and that one missing connector. It could be because the ground had been prepared, the seedlings were carefully planted or something like that. Okay, let's look at number 5. Number 5 says, we can start the conference now that all the participants have arrived. So we have the verb, which is can start, right? And who or what can start the conference? We, right? And we have the other verb structure, have arrived. Who or what have arrived? The participants. Do we have a connector? Yes. Now that, right? If we check the graph of the vocabulary, we see that now that is a connector. And in this case, yeah, it's correct. Number 5 is correct. Okay, let's check out number 6. The building quite vulnerable to damage until the storm windows are installed. Okay. The building quite vulnerable. There's no, maybe the building is the subject, but quite vulnerable is quite is an adverb and vulnerable is an adjective, right? Like the building is vulnerable. The building is strong, right? Like it just describes the building, and quite is like it's very vulnerable, it's quite vulnerable, it's a little vulnerable, it's a little strong, but there is no verb, right? Are installed is my verb, and who or what are installed, the storm windows. Until is my connector, but yes, it would be incorrect because we're missing a verb, right, for the building. Yeah, we could probably put is. The building is quite vulnerable, or was, or something like that. Okay, let's look at number 7. Once the address label for the package is typed, can be sent to the mailroom. Okay, so is typed is my verb structure. Who or what is typed? The address label or the address label for the package. We have the connector over here, right? Once, and accordingly, it is correct because there's a comma here. We have can be sent, which is my verb, but we don't have a subject for can be sent, right? We don't know who or what can be sent. So it's going to be incorrect. Number 7. Yes, it could be it. Once the address label for the package is typed, it can be sent to the mailroom or something like that. Okay, let's look at number 8. Because the recent change in work shifts was not posted, several workers missed their shifts. Oh, okay. Okay, so was not posted is my verb. Who or what was not posted? The recent change or the recent change in shifts. Because it's going to be my connector. Missed is my verb. And who or what missed their shifts? Several workers. So I think everything is in order. It's in place, so it's correct. Yeah, number 8 is correct. Okay, now number 9. The mother is going to be quite upset with her son as long as he misbehaves so much. Is going to be or is my verb structure here. Who or what is going to be? The mother. Misbehaves is my verb, right? Se porta mal. And then who or what misbehaves? He. The connector is as long as, and it has all of the elements in its correct places, in their correct places. So it is correct. Yeah, number 9 is correct. And number 10, in as much as all the votes have not yet been counted, the outcome of the election cannot be announced. Okay, so have not yet been counted is the verb structure. Who or what have not yet been counted? All the votes. Cannot be announced is the second verb structure. Who or what cannot be announced? The outcome or the outcome of the election. And we have the connector in as much as. Okay, up to here it looks correct, but there is one mistake. Do you see it? Exactly, the comma. We don't have a comma, right? And remember, when the adverb connector is in the beginning, we need a comma that separates the two clauses. So this one is incorrect because we are missing a comma. Yeah, no comma between counted and the. Okay, very good. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'll reply. If not, then I hope you have a great day. And next class, we're going to continue with reading skill 7 of the TOEFL preparation course. So I'll see you then. See you.